Good morning and welcome to the Celebrate podcast. I'm Lisa McGarry, co-owner of Celebrate Primary Care.
I'm Della Tootin, the other owner of Celebrate Primary Care.
And we are excited today. We've got Jake Thompson from Access Training Studio with us. But first of all, we want to say thanks to Elio with Fiesta Media. Good job. We're live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on YouTube and Facebook. And you can also listen to old episodes anywhere you listen to podcasts. So without further ado, this is Jake.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us about Access. Tell us about you.
Well, tell us where you're from first. I want to know where you're from.
Okay. So I'm actually from a town called Bakersfield, California.
Oh, yay.
Okay.
So it's about 100 miles north of Los Angeles. But
Dwight Yoakam.
Dwight Yoakam, Buck Owens.
Nice.
Very, very country.
Yep.
Unlike
Do you like
Los
country?
Angeles. I do.
Okay, well, good. It's because you grew up there like you had to. I don't know.
Absolutely. So grew up in Bakersfield, California, lived there until I was 18, and then joined the military actually out of high school because my parents, their really advice to me was, Jake, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And at the time, I knew college I had good grades. I did very well in school. However, I didn't have the money. And so for me, the military was my first out. And it was great. I was in the Air Force.
Air Force, okay.
Air Force. And I got to travel.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
my first duty assignment was actually in Abilene, Texas, in Dice Air Force Base. So if you're 18 years old in West Texas, it's not a great place to be. So I pretty much volunteered everywhere to go. So I got to go to England. I've got to go to Curacao, Uzbekistan, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, a lot of those places. And I got to grow up pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I did my 4 years, was military police actually.
Oh, okay.
So
We didn't know that you were the police.
yes. But
The enforcer.
But actually, fitness was always my passion. And as in the military, that's just a byproduct of what you do.
Right.
And being in the military, I had a lot of injuries just because of our training regimen and my own personal workouts. And that's actually how Access was kind of born, was just out of my own injuries. And I think I've told you my story of having back pain and taking, naproxen daily, killing my liver essentially. And I actually went to see a physical therapist with all my issues and totally changed my outlook on fitness. And at that point, I actually thought about going into physiotherapy because that's what my passion was. But as you guys found out, like with traditional fee-for-service medicine, it's not the best. It's hard, and it's a game that you have to play with insurance, right?
Yeah.
And after working in some physiotherapy clinics, I realized, is this what I really want?
Yeah.
And a lot of the therapists weren't happy, and they were just playing the system, and I get that. But essentially realized that wasn't my passion. Mine was more of the post-rehabilitation, really working on people's fitness.
Right.
And after that, I decided, where do people go after physical therapy? And they're like, well, we just send them to the gym. I'm like, well,
what do they do there?
Yeah, they have no plan. They're 8 weeks post.
They're like, there's a giant gym here. What do I do?
And a lot of people were lost.
Oh, yeah, sounds like it.
Essentially. And I thought, well, I can help these people.
Right.
And so they started referring patients to me, and it kept growing and growing. And ultimately, that's how Access was born.
That's awesome.
Was just from referrals from physiotherapy and a couple of physicians that I had trained myself. And here we are 11 years later. I've got 6 staff, 4 full-time physiologists, and things are growing. We had our challenges with COVID as most businesses did, and we overcame those challenges and we modified our business a little bit, but
I'm glad you didn't say pivot.
Yeah.
We're going to
take it again.
Shock you if you say pivot.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You did a good job. That was good.
And ultimately, just like what you guys did, you guys provide concierge care.
Right.
That's what we wanted to produce, but more in the fitness side of things.
Right.
We didn't want to be a fee for service where if you got to call the office or talk to someone, you've got to, essentially have an appointment to pay for that.
Yeah.
You pay for our membership just like for you, and you have access to your coach 7 days a week, 24/7.
Right.
If you have a question, you don't got to call the office. You don't got to email. You can literally text your coach, hey, I'm dealing with this, and we can solve it, even on a Sunday at 2 p.m.
That's awesome.
That is nice.
Give people what they want. Eliminate all those barriers.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
you provide a good service, no matter what industry you're in, people will come to you.
Well, and they'll tell their friends, and their friends will come, and all. That's how this works, right?
Absolutely.
Well, and you deliver what you say you do, and
Yeah.
that is the difference. I think a lot of people make the mistake. They're like, have these, promises that they don't keep.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right. And just like your business, people pay on their own pocket.
Yeah.
And if you don't provide results, they can choose to stop using your
100%,
services.
yeah.
So you've got to produce results.
Yep.
Or else they're gone.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that, we've been able to do for 11 years is give results. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in business.
Yeah.
Jake, I have a question, which I know your business is amazing. I want to know how you ended up in Gainesville. So you were a police officer in the military, and then you're in Gainesville. Like you went from Bakersfield, California, to Gainesville.
To all over to all over the world, to Gainesville.
Okay. So my first duty assignment was in Abilene, Texas.
All right.
My second duty assignment was in Valdosta, Georgia, just up the road here.
Yeah.
And
Wild adventures.
I loved it there. It's a very small town, about the size of Lake City.
Yeah.
And that's actually where I met my wife. She was going to college there.
Okay.
And when I got out of the military, actually there was stop loss going on. So pretty much I was non-deployable. I had already served my 4 years, but they weren't letting anybody out. And this was about 2 months after my 4 years had expired. I get a call from my commander. I was like, Airman Thompson, you're out processing this week. So
Really?
2 days later, I'm out processing out of the military. So mind you, a week later, I'm a civilian.
Wow.
That's a shock.
And I moved to South Florida, to West Palm. And my friend of mine had lived down there, and he was going to college at Palm Beach College. And so I decided, I'll go there as well. And I did. I literally, 2 weeks later, I was enrolled in college.
Wow.
And lived in West Palm for about a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I transferred, moved up to the Tallahassee area and went there. And then my wife actually got accepted to graduate school at UF. And so that was back in 04.
Mm-hmm.
We moved here and we never left.
Yep,
Yeah,
that happens.
so.
It just sucks you in a good way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your wife's awesome, by the way.
Thank you. I think so too.
Yeah, she's a good human.
And so we've been here since 04, and it's been a great ride. I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of people. Gainesville's a great place.
Right.
And
Such an amazing
we
community.
actually intended on being here for 2 years and then moving to Tallahassee because my wife's from South Georgia, but that just never worked, and we just been here ever since.
You guys still live in Newberry?
Still live in the same house, and we bought in 04.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness,
that's
that's
great.
awesome. Yeah,
That's
but
really
it's
good.
really close to everything, and Newberry's growing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when we first moved to Newberry, this was in 04, you couldn't really get cell service out there.
Wow.
So I would come into town and I would get voicemails from the night previously because it just wasn't any service.
Right.
And Newberry has probably grown tenfold since I moved there.
Crazy. Yeah.
So who is your target client in your business?
So our target client is a male or female over 40.
I could probably say it because of BNI. I heard it for like 6 years. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say it.
So a male or female over 40 that has experienced some type of health challenge,
Yep.
generally on high blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, usually one of those two. Usually, 20 pounds or more overweight, but also having some type of physical ailment, whether it's a knee issue, back issue. That's typically our ideal avatar clientele.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you I was in your old location. Tell us about you. How long have you been in the new location?
So we're currently in Magnolia Park, and we've been there for 4 years.
Oh my goodness.
So
I know, it's crazy, right?
I know, right? Seems like yesterday. So previously that, we were off of Tower Road.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And the location we were at, it looked more like a church.
Yeah.
It was like a hairdresser.
There's a
on one
hairdresser
side.
next door.
Yeah.
Great people.
But that used to be a gym, I think.
Well,
a long
back
time ago.
behind it was Powerhouse Gym.
Yes.
But
right.
it was the little building next to it is where they were.
And
I
we
was
had-
in there because of Carrie, who's
Oh,
now
yeah,
a
yeah.
physician.
Yes.
She was working with you at the time, and I think she might be in California.
Yeah, she's in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
That's
a
awesome.
Family practice.
Family practice, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were there for roughly 7 years, and like no one knew we were there. We had no signage. Everything on our side of the road was more of a business, and everything on the other side was more of like government subsidized housing.
Yes.
Right.
So,
It was probably interesting.
so we were like, I say we were the best kept secret.
Yeah.
And we were there for 7 years, and we ultimately just outgrew that location. And we had really no visibility. We were by referral only pretty much at that time.
Yeah.
And how I actually got that location was I was working out of a gym called Fit for Life. It's no longer in existence.
I
They went
remember.
out of business. But I remember distinctly I was driving home one day, and I saw this bike accident. And this bike had been just dismantled badly, and I knew the person had been injured, if not killed.
Yeah.
And I realized that could have been me because I ride a lot, I cycle a lot, and I realized like, oh my gosh, if something happens to me, I have no business. I can't help anybody.
Yeah.
And I literally gave myself a 30-day ultimatum to find a location and to find staff,
Wow. Okay.
and I did it in 17 days.
Good job. That's awesome.
Set a goal.
I had no idea what I was doing,
Right.
and I just like, okay, trial by fire.
Right. That's how you figure it out.
And I figured it out, and we just kept growing and growing. Of course, B&I had been a large part of that.
Yep.
And we got results, and so people kept coming in, and eventually we upgraded the location and moved to Magnolia Park. So,
Which is a beautiful location.
absolutely it is, and we're next to Domino's Pizza. So, I don't know if that's a good or bad
You
thing.
should stand outside and be like, so have you thought about when people are picking up?
We've actually considered putting like a marquee or
Yes.
a sandwich sign out front with a QR code.
Yeah, come on over.
Where they can just book an appointment.
Yeah,
We
good
haven't done
consult.
that yet, but that's in the works.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That
I
is
like
a good
it.
idea.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we've seen growth just like you guys have. You guys have, several locations, and you've grown your staff, and I see what you guys do. I see all your stuff for the past years, and I'm like, man, how could I model that?
Oh, thanks.
I mean,
You're doing a
it's-
great job. I mean, the reputation's great. I mean, you've got some serious raving fans out there, and
Right.
you guys have. I mean, I've referred a patient, changed his life. Like you did amazing with him.
The guy's
so
running now, and
he's running on
year
his
ago,
own,
he
and
would have been
nobody's
like,
chasing him.
Heck no.
Yeah. And you have Kat on your staff, and she's amazing.
Yeah, she
so
is.
Kat is amazing. And today is Victor's birthday, her little boy.
Yes.
Who is like
Yeah, I
just
saw that.
9
That's
years
so
old.
sweet.
He's so cute. So
sweet.
happy birthday, Victor.
Happy birthday,
Aw.
Victor. Yes.
Yay. Yeah, he's good. So, so that's good to know because, people oftentimes they're like, I don't really belong there, and they feel out of place. And I think that's the key is like you have to sometimes just take that first step and
Right.
give it a chance. And I will tell you that is true for me. I've never played tennis in my life, and my daughter's little friend, she moved out of town, and she was taking a lesson with her, and I asked the coach, I said, could I take her place? And they're like little kid, they're 11. And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And I love it. And I'm addicted to it. And that was really stepping out of my comfort zone.
Sure.
And so I think that sometimes people just have to take that step and, say,
Try
I'm going to go
something.
try it.
Right.
And that's what is nice about your place. I mean, Carrie did that for me in your studio, all those years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think you got to do it.
Well,
Right.
and
And-
you guys have group and individual. Like if
Right.
somebody's not comfortable in a group setting, you can do an
Absolutely.
individual.
And primarily, we do one-on-one. That's our primary business, but
Yeah.
we do have small group for those that,
Well, they like the socialization and community.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
that's what I hear from them.
And that's how most gyms have been successful is the social component.
Of course,
And especially over the
100%.
last 18 months, like
Yeah.
it's even been more important.
Right.
And, most people are scared to come through our doors because of what they see on TV. They think we're like the biggest loser and we're just going to kill them.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Burpees for days.
Right, and that's not how it works. So we got to show them like, no, we're going to tailor it to your ability. Like
Right.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Like you're not getting 100 burpees your first day.
Right, right.
We're going to tailor it to your ability.
Well, you didn't get here in a day or a week or even a month or a year. Like it
Right.
took you a long time to get to this state, and it's going
Right.
to take you a while to get back out.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially as we age, like our bodies don't work the same.
Yeah.
And, those aches and pains really rear its ugly head more frequently. And
Well, I mean, you can throw your back out getting out of bed
that happens.
all the time.
We're
It's
not
like
getting any
crazy.
younger. So,
Gotta take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And people just generally are afraid to come see us. And I get that.
Yeah.
Because they're basing, what they see on TV and the media. And,
Right.
and I understand that. And it's our job to kind of reassure them, like, this is not how it works.
Right.
You talk to most gym owners and they'll tell you the same thing.
100%.
Right.
It's about the people and the person and
Right.
what they need. Yeah.
And every gym is different. You got to find one that fits, your style.
Right. Exactly.
sure.
100%.
So you're a triathlete, right?
Yes.
And are you
Iron Man, right?
So I was supposed to do an Ironman, my first one ever, before my 40th birthday in 2020, I was going to do Ironman Utah.
Oh.
Okay.
So now, do you guys know what the actual distance for Ironman is?
Yeah, it's like
I
a
don't.
4-mile swim, and it's full marathon, and like 130-mile ride.
So it's a 2.4-mile swim,
Okay.
112-mile bike, and a full 26.2 marathon
Yeah.
run in that order.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was my bucket list to do before I turned 40 in 2020.
Okay.
And obviously COVID happened, and so they canceled the race, and they moved it to September, and I was going to go back in Utah, and they canceled again. So they moved me to Florida. They actually told me I could choose which race I want to, so I just chose Florida.
Is that Claremont?
Actually, it's Panama City.
Okay, Panama City.
And then they had reduced capacity, so they just deferred me to the following year. So I'm actually racing Ironman Florida in November of 2022.
Okay.
So if you
well,
ladies want to
Go
join me,
cheer you on.
and
We'll cheer you on.
yeah, we'll be your cheering squad. I don't know about that.
yeah, I don't. That's something that's I don't recommend for everybody because
Yeah.
it's very
Brutal.
grueling
And
and it
intense.
takes up your weekends.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And I can't swim, so I'm not going to do
right,
that.
especially open water. Yeah,
I can only not drown barely.
yeah.
I've done a few of the sprints,
Sure.
and then I had Lisa and her daughter and my daughter. We did like the
A super sprint, right?
Super sprint at
It was
UF.
so cute. The girls had so much fun, though. That was
They
sweet.
have a great race every year.
Yeah.
That Florida Tri-Gators put on.
Yep, that
and
was
it's
so
nice.
fun.
And that's what I recommend for most people who've never done one, just
Yeah.
to try it because the community is so supportive.
Oh, yeah,
People,
it's super sweet.
They help you out, and it's no one's here to judge. We're here just to have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
You
cheer
know?
you on, and you can do it, and come
Right.
on, yeah.
Absolutely. And
fun.
like for most people, I recommend that to start off so that doesn't scare them because
Yeah, yeah.
when you do a regular triathlon in open water, like you're going to get kicked and punched in the head. Like that's just a guarantee unless you just stick back. But, and especially like riding a bike on open road, people are very leery
yeah.
of that. And I get that. It's not for everybody, but I would definitely recommend trying the super sprint.
Yeah, it's fun.
The first triathlon I ever did, I had to do open water, and I had to go out and tread water. I thought that when the horn went off, I was going to walk on the water because I have never been, and I finished, I think, 7th overall over all the women that took off because it was like this crazy
mass.
free for all. And so I was like, I am not getting kicked. And so I just took off. And so I was out in the front, and I was like, it was pure adrenaline.
Absolutely.
And like maybe baby Jesus like flying behind me because I was like, this is terrifying.
And honestly, I think most people would agree. It's kind of like a drug. You get this adrenaline rush at a race, and you feel so good. And then when you finish, it's that sense of accomplishment,
yeah,
right?
you did it.
And it's like, oh man, this is awesome. I want to do more.
Yeah. Then they get the bug, and that's how it starts.
Absolutely. That's how most sporting, events take place. Is you get that bug, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna do another one.
So
Can
now
you help people get prepared? I'm sure you can, but can you
Is that on
kinda
your
help
list?
people do that?
Absolutely. I have several clients that I help with racing. It's not my primary thing, but I've probably done 60 races. I've done 3 half Ironmans.
Wow.
So
awesome.
it's not for everybody. I would recommend a sprint for most people just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of time constraints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the longer the race, the more likelihood of injuries are going to happen,
Of
just
course.
because of the repetition,
Wear
the
and
amount
tear
of
on the
amount
body.
of volume of training that's required is a
It's
lot.
Yeah.
So especially if you have kids and you've got a business, like it's really tough.
Yeah.
And riding on the road is scary. I did all of my training and a spin on a spin bike.
Right.
That's where I did mine. So
Inside, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing, like because you're on the road, and some roads have bike lanes, some don't, and you just never know someone's driving abilities, and there are fortunately accidents all the time, and it's just one of those things. It's like a risk: do I take it or do I not take?
Yeah.
Right.
And good things that you can ride indoors. So.
Right. Yeah. And you can get that trainer, right? That you put your bike on, and so you're actually on your bike. And
Right. And honestly, most races that you go to, like they have their
Closed road.
Yeah,
roads.
yeah,
They
yeah.
have a lot of law enforcement presence, so you're not going to have a lot of traffic. And plus, they're usually on a Saturday or Sunday at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Where
Early.
not many people are going to be on the
You
road.
got to love that early morning.
Yep.
Right.
Well,
right.
it's a little cooler.
Well, yeah,
Florida.
and most the triathlon season goes until about end of October, and it picks up back up in like early April.
Yeah.
So
So how do people find you and find out more about your gym?
Right.
The services. I
So-
think he probably. Oh, there.
Yep. There it is.
Ta-da!
Yeah, so the easiest way is through our website, accesstrainingstudio.com. We've got all our services, what we do. There's a video. It shows exactly our process of what we do with new clients. So it's not scary, I promise you that.
Yeah.
And it shows all the different services that we have, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's small group. And everyone goes through an evaluation. So like with our small group program, you actually have to do an evaluation in order to get into it. So if you have any orthopedic issues, injuries, we won't allow you in that program.
Because you got to get that fixed first.
Yes, because I don't want to injure people. You know? And if it's in a group environment, we may not be able to see every little thing that you do.
Right.
And we want to limit that liability.
Yeah, for sure.
And we want to make people feel comfortable. Like, I don't want them leaving like, oh my God, like I'm going to die.
Well, yeah.
You know, or like they're scared like they're going to get injured. Like, that's not what I want to create.
There's something that I've seen you guys do that I think is really nice, and it's about like an achievement wall, and you like, it's an encouragement, and it lets people see like their
where you can
progress.
Go. Yeah.
Right. So that program is called FitRanks. And FitRanks is a fitness ranking system. So think of like martial arts. You have the belt system, different colors, and you got to rank up. If you marry that with like if you probably remember back when you were in elementary school, the presidential fitness test.
Yeah.
And you have certain things that you got to do. Well, FitRanks is kind of like put those two together based on your age and gender. Every test has two components. It has a strength component and it has a conditioning component.
Okay.
And then there are certain specific things that you have to do. And if you pass that test, then you get a nice little wristband, you get your nameplate on the wall, and then you get to work on the next level.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's a new goal, right?
I mean, it gives you tangible things to work on, whether
measurable.
It's squats, push-ups, things like that. Because most people come to us, it's like, I want to lose weight or get out of back pain. They usually don't say, hey, I want to be able to do push-ups or pull-ups, or it's like they have no idea what they're capable of doing.
Right.
And what FitRanks does, it shows them what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
And it gives people motivation because like getting out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning is not easy for many people. And when you have a tangible goal, like I've got to do this, I'm going to test in the month, like you're going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just a
accountability.
Absolutely.
What's important.
You know, which is really big in my industry, accountability. Because if you don't have it, you're probably not going to get out of bed and do that workout.
Right. Well, that's why people have all the gym equipment in their garage and never use it.
Right. Interesting enough, like gym equipment became so popular over the last 18 months. Like you couldn't even get a pair of dumbbells.
Yeah.
And if you could, you were paying triple the price.
Right.
Right. The good thing that's happened over the last 18 months is a lot of people are using their home gyms compared to prior.
Right. That's true.
So we've seen a big intake of even just our clientele working out at home outside of our sessions.
We've seen a big uptick in injuries.
Yeah.
Well,
because there's no supervision.
Right. Yeah. Or people put a barbell overhead when they should really be doing their body weight at first.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I give them an A for effort. You know, they're trying, and injuries, you know, they do happen sometimes. And
well, maybe this is an opportunity. If they aren't seeing the progress, it's time to like step into a situation with you guys and do some work there and evaluation. And then they also have that backup at home that they can go back and utilize.
That's 100%. With anything. Like if you want to like fast track your skills and results, you hire a coach. You know?
In every part of your life.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the way I look at things. Like if you're not getting the results you're wanting, if you're having issues, like you reach out to a professional.
Yeah.
And they can look at you objectively and say, look, you've got these things. Let's work on these.
Yeah.
And literally put you on the fast track. You don't got to think. You just got to follow the directions. Right. And then they get the results.
Yep.
Because we've helped other people, you know, in their situation, so we know how the process works. We know what to give them, how many sets, reps, the intensity, all those variables.
Right.
They don't got to think about it, right? And that's with any coach. Like they just basically fast track your success.
Right.
Nice.
And give
You're
you
paying for
accountability.
speed.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm a big fan of paying for speed.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Great.
So we always like to ask, like, and I'm putting you on the spot, but like a health tip. Like, what would be your number one? It can be something personal, you know, that you've experienced in your life, or something that you talk to clients about. But what do you think about, like, what would be your health tip for someone?
So, especially over the last 18 months, and this is something that I've preached always, but like, you cannot out-train a bad diet. Like, it starts with nutrition. Like, you are what you eat down to a cellular level.
Yeah.
So I could teach the best exercise, the best program, but if they're putting in poor nutrition, you know, if their dietary habits are very bad, it's going to limit the results.
Right.
Yeah.
So everything will start with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would say, you know, watch what you eat.
Yeah.
Is-
Well, people think I've worked really hard. I deserve to go through wherever, whatever fast food. It's like, no, that's just, you just negated everything.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You just negated maybe that workout or several workouts.
Right.
With, you know, you went to Chick-fil-A, for example, which we all love.
Yeah.
But, that.
But you can make wise choices at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, absolutely. At
But most
places
people
you
don't.
can, right? And, that 1,200 calorie meal that you just had, has a detrimental effect. And if you do that repetitively, it adds up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And nutrition is going to fuel your workouts.
Right.
So if you're eating
Food is
terrible,
fuel. Food-
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like gas in your car. I mean, would you put diesel in your car?
No.
Right.
It probably wouldn't run very well.
Yeah.
So everything starts with that. So my tip would be nutrition. And nutrition, there's not one way.
Right.
I wish there was. It'd
It'd
make
be
things
easier.
it'd be easier, right? 'Cause, okay, just do that. And this is where you really got to like document and track how it affects you, because everyone's different.
100%.
And if you do that, you're going to see results, but also you're going to know exactly how your body responds
Yeah.
to food.
Well, it's
And-
a body awareness that people don't have in general,
Right.
so that's good.
Right. And if you just started tracking your food, you're going to see you're going to see patterns. You're going to see things like, oh, wow, this doesn't really sit well with me.
Yeah.
And you're going to learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
And that would be my tip, it would be nutrition and literally like look at what you eat
Yeah.
and evaluate that.
For
That's
sure,
awesome.
because if you're doing, you got to marry those together. So thank you for that tip,
Yeah,
because
that's
that is
good.
so true, and
Absolutely.
we definitely believe that as well. So we appreciate you being here with
Yes,
us today.
thank you for
Yes.
coming on.
You're
This was so
awesome.
fun.
Absolutely. I love being here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
this
have
was
an
great.
amazing staff, and you're doing wonderful things in this community. So thank you for being
And
here.
you help our patients. I mean, we have patients
Yeah.
that see
Yeah.
you, so thank you for that. We
and
Absolutely.
you're an
appreciate it.
amazing golfer, by the way. I had
Oh,
to add that
yes.
in.
Well, that's getting better.
That's good.
It's a work in progress.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week at 11 a.m. on Tuesday on Facebook and YouTube. So everybody have a great week. Thank you. And thanks again, Jake, for coming. We
Yes.
appreciate it. It was fun.
Bye.